Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Fantasy Results Show. I am your host, Jay Blaze39, brought to you by DailyDraftAnalysis.com. And they're your one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. We're breaking down each matchup each week, and trying to find the right plays, the right formulas for our lineups. The season's flying by here. We got some interesting slates, and plays this week, and some under the radar plays as well, from some big names that are out there. This week, I've been hearing a lot of talk of Deshaun Watson and if some of these guys are going to be so overused and over-owned, it's going to be it could be a case of where we could it sounds too good to be true, so it could be a case of really going with some pivots that could pay off huge this week. So let's get into the matchups. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the matchups, and then after that I'm going to get into some stacking theory, and some thoughts on attacking this field. So, and it's going to be a little bit different. I'll give you all the plays for each game. Some guys to consider, and some are going to be easy to figure out, and some not. Some of these totals and some of these lines are misleading. So it makes me a little nervous on some of these matchups. But anyway, let's get into it. The first game we have is Houston at home against Cleveland. Well, everybody's pointing towards the obvious Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins combo. That's all great for cash games. Have at it. By all means, even on the smaller slates, or you got to have those guys. But from a GPP tournament, I'll probably still have a share or two of those, but I'm actually looking elsewhere to get away from the chalk here. So, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but they both have great matchups. So somebody else to consider is Ryan Griffin, and it could be a way to pivot, off of the construction of the obvious with Hopkins. So, and that is a strategy that has worked for me in the past. The week I won a big GPP, I had a quarterback tight end combo. So, and it allowed me to pay up elsewhere. So, that's a strategy that could work. There'll still be a fair amount on them, but it kind of takes a little edge off. Because Cleveland's been terrible against the tight end also. So, and the implied total for Houston is 28 points. I think the line here is 9.5. There's an interesting dynamic here on this game. This game opened at Houston, minus 12. But it's come down to minus 9.5. But the point total has come up to 47 from 44. So there's some movement going on here. So you can have some plays on both sides. If you want to take a shot at some of the Cleveland guys, I'm actually not opposed to having a share of Kevin Hogan with either Ricardo Lewis or Ajuko. Was it David Ajuko? At tight end. And by doing that, because they're probably going to be playing catch up, you could pair him with Duke Johnson also for garbage time stats. So this game's gonna be closer than a lot of people think it is. Houston's defense isn't the same without J.J. Watt and Marcel Darius. So this game could come down to a shootout. So that's something to consider. The other option, it's hard to argue is Will Fuller. You could go with a double stack almost of Watson, Hopkins, and Fuller, or Hopkins. Actually, you could, to get away, you could go Watson, Griffin, and Fuller. And then if you really want to get crazy, you could go with Deontay Foreman instead of the normal Lamar Miller. Excuse me. Battling a cold this week, so they just won't give up. So forgive my voice here this week, guys. So I'll get through it. Anyway, I'm not endorsing Crowell this week. Houston's pretty good against the run. And on the other side, Lamar Miller, I'm not endorsing him either. He could get some garbage. I mean, if you think the game flow is going to be a blowout, which it could. You could see Miller, and Houston defense. So, he could just do a full game stack on this, and and then fill in the pieces afterwards. So, that's something to consider. So anyway, moving on. Next game is New England visiting the Jets. well, on the surface, it looks like this game is going to be all New England. Well, the over/under on this is 47. New England's favored by 9.5. It looks like Gronkowski's off the injury report now, so that's encouraging. I'll just give you a breakdown. I mean, Tom Brady's always in play, and to be honest, the only person I would pair him with is Gronkowski, because beyond that, you don't know who he's going to pass it to. He could go to Hogan. He could go to Cooks. It could be White out of the backfield. So we don't know. So you could roll with Brady naked, too, and then on the other side you could do. I really like Elijah McGuire this week. If Powell and Forte are out, I like that paired with the Jets defense actually, because I think there's some that's only for tournaments, cash games. No way. But for tournaments, you could go that route. That's New England's defense is horrible. So you could go ASJ, the tight end, Jenkins. You could take a flyer on Robbie Anderson for a deep threat. So it's about as far as I'm going to get in this game, because I don't see, other than the obvious Tom Brady. With that salary, it's hard to pay up for that. So I have a hard time paying for the number one quarterback, but he's always in play. For cash, go ahead. So knock yourself out. So next game here is Miami going to Atlanta. Now this game started off as Falcons by 9.5, and with a 47.5 total. Now Atlanta it's just changed to minus 13. They're favored by 13 now, double digits, but the point total went down. There's something to that. I like Freeman, and the Falcons defense in this game. Look at what Cutler did last week. He didn't even throw for 100 yards, and he won. I think Ajayi is, he's a boom or bust guy. So, he's going to get an opportunity. But I think Atlanta's going to shut him down. I don't like this matchup for them. I guess if you wanted to go contrarian, you could totally off the wall. You could go Cutler and Landry or Parker. I wouldn't recommend it, but that's a way of getting way off the beaten path. So, and it could work, because Cutler does have good games once in a while. So, Atlanta's defense did make Mike Glennon, for the Bears looked like a decent quarterback in week 1. So, and then you could go to Julio Jones. Julio Jones is going to actually be a nice pivot this week because everybody's going to be on Hopkins. So, or Antonio Brown. So, it's going to be a nice, he's going to go overlooked, I think. So, and he's due for a breakout game here. He's kind of been underwhelming so far this year. And this is a prime spot for him. Another guy I like is that could be sneaky is this Austin Hooper. Miami's not very good against the tight end. And another guy is Taylor Gabriel. He's kind of the gadget guy, and I think he's a return guy also. So, if you want to double dip, you could, with the Atlanta defense, you could go with Taylor Gabriel, and if he runs one back, you get double the points. So that could be a strategy correlation to consider while constructing your lineup, especially in the large field GPPs. So just keep that in mind, guys. So that's what it's all about. Is you're making your correlations and making the most of what positions you have, maximizing that potential. So depending on the game flow. So the next game is a game that a lot of people are going to be on, and it's the highest projected game, along with and that's Detroit going to New Orleans, and we all know that Drew Brees at home is a thing. So the over under is 50, and then but New Orleans only favored by 4. But Matthew Stafford, if he can stay upright, he's a little dinged up, so who knows? There'll be a lot of people will. There won't be a lot of people on him, just because of his injury status. So plus with all the other options out there, and this could be a pivot also, because a lot of people, if there's a few choices at quarterback to pivot off of Watson. One of them is Breeze, the other one is Philip Rivers. Now, if you go with Stafford, you're off of that completely, and you're separating yourself. And he is capable of throwing up a big game. So, pairing him up with Golden Tate and Theo Riddick, that could be money. That could be, and then on the other side, maybe put in, Michael Thomas or Kamara. That could be an interesting strategy to consider. So, I would definitely look at that. So, because a lot of people are going to be on Breeze, I might look the other way and go with Stafford. So Abdullah's another guy that could be in play here. So I'm hearing a lot of talk about Mark Ingram and his his role being secure. Yeah, it is, but I don't trust it. There's something, I don't know, there's something doesn't seem right about it. It could work. He is capable, but Detroit's run defense isn't that bad. But their pass catching, going up against pass catchers is something to be desired. It's so for me, it's Riddick. It's Kamara for the Saints in the backfield instead of Ingram. Ingram is capable of catching passes also, but you could go that route. He's not real high on my list, so. All right, let's move on to the next game, and that is, Green Bay coming to Minnesota. This feels like a 24-17, 24-21 type of game. There's a lot of injuries for the Vikings. A lot of injuries for the Packers. The over-under started at 47. And it's down to 45. So, and the Green Bay is favored by 3, which just seems odd because Minnesota at home is a thing. They play well there. Rodgers against Mike Zimmer defenses. It's a little up and down. So Zimmer's kind of figured him out a little bit. He still does what Aaron Rodgers does because he is Aaron Rodgers. So, it's from a of course, Sam Bradford's going to be out along with Stephon Diggs. A couple of guys to consider here that absolutely nobody is going to be on that could have a decent role in the game, and that's Michael Floyd and Laquan Treadwell. I'm not sure which one I like better yet. I'm leaning towards Michael Floyd, just because of his, history and his, he has, done it in the past, and he, his first week back, he was on the field for a good amount of plays against Chicago, so that bodes well. Another guy that's really sneaky is, Jarius Wright could catch a long pass too. I think the Minnesota offense is going to put up some points. Green Bay's defense isn't that great. Adam Thielen is going to have a big day, I think. There's a lot of talk on Jarrett McKinnon, and rightfully so. He's underpriced, and he's going to get a lot of workload. He's going to get the opportunity. the more I think about it, I think it's a trap. I don't I don't think that I don't think I'm going there. Cash maybe, just because of the ownership is going to be so high that it can if he does blow up, you're covered. And if he doesn't, if he has a dud, well, half the field is going to have a dud too. So you're not really losing much. So you could do that, go that route. So, but for tournaments, I'll have a share or two. That's about it. And on Green Bay side, of course, Jordy Nelson kind of moves all over the place. And Xavier Rhodes is going to be, I don't think he'll be shadowing Jordy Nelson. I think he doesn't go into the slot very much. So so when Nelson's off of Rhodes, he could do some damage. So another guy to consider, Devontae Adams is going to be somebody to consider, and Bennett is another guy, tight end, if he ever can catch the ball. He's like the second or third most targeted tight end in the league in the red zone. Excuse me. He just, he's not catching, can't get his act together for some reason. So, but, this could be the one that he has 2-3 touchdown potential. So, just keep that in mind. As far as the running backs, it sounded like Ty Montgomery might be out. Last I've been hearing. If that's the case, Aaron Jones takes over. He had a good week last week against Dallas. Going up against Minnesota defense is a different animal. So, from if you were to take a different approach, and you want to stack this, you could go Minnesota defense and Jarrett McKinnon. I don't know if he'll still be doing kickoffs. I don't think he will be. But if he is, oh my gosh, that's no brainer. So just some food for thought, guys. So that's a very out of the box type of approach. You can blow up on your face for sure, just because of Aaron Rodgers' history. So, but in big tournaments, you got to take some chances. That could be one. So, just food for thought. So, the next game is Baltimore at home against Chicago. Baltimore's favored by 6.5. The over-under is an ugly 39. The only plays I have in this game is Baltimore's defense and maybe Alex Collins or Buck Allen. Beyond that, I have no interest in the passing game. On either side. You can maybe go with Howard. Baltimore's pretty good against. See, the thing of it is, since the beginning of 2016, The Ravens at home have only given up 15 points a game. Now on the road, they give up 24. That's a huge difference. They're playing at home. They're playing against a rookie quarterback who has some skill. He is going to be good, but he's not. I mean, I don't think he's going to get there yet. So, it's not a good matchup for him. So, I'm rolling with Baltimore defense. Now the next game is interesting. San Francisco against Washington. Now, is this game in Washington? I think so. Let's see here. This game. Okay, yep, this game is in Washington. Now, my theory on, West Coast teams going east across 2 time zones, it doesn't always work. The Chargers proved me wrong on that last week. So, but with the Cardinals, it worked out well for me because I would go into Philly. So anyway, with this game, San Francisco, Washington opened 9-point favorites. Now they've went to 11-point favorites. So over under is 46. From a tournament perspective, I like the idea of stacking Hoyer and Garcon. Mainly because it's kind of a revenge narrative for Garcon. He's been a target monster. Now, I kind of expect this game to be a somewhat of a shootout. To be honest, I could see a 31-28 game. Breaking out there. The guys on Washington to consider is Chris Thompson, Kirk Cousins. I do like Kirk Cousins this week. I don't like the running games. As far as running the ball, both sides are pretty stout against the actual run. But their pass catching backs are doing well against each other. And that bodes well for Chris Thompson, who's like a home run hitter. You could also go with Carlos Hyde in a GPP. If you really want to think outside the box, you could go with that Breda. From the Niners. He could snipe some carries away from Hyde, so that could work. I don't like P. Ryan this week at all. Jordan Reed is in play, but play him at your own risk. He could have all kinds of ailments by the time he hits the field. So then again, he could blow up 3 touchdowns also. It's kind of a boom or bust with him these days. So Crowder could be another guy to consider. I guess Pryor, you gotta say Pryor, but I mean he's been a major disappointment so far. So, it is what it is. So, I don't like either defense in this game. So, but let's move to the 4 o'clock games now. The first one I got is, let's see here, is LA Rams against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's favored by 2.5. They're at home. Over-under is 42. I like Fournette this week. He's going to get a ton of work. So was Todd Gurley, but I like Fournette better. This could be a scenario where you stack both running backs and possibly a defense, which I would go with Jacksonville defense in this one. But because I don't think, Gurley's been doing most of his damage through the air, catching the ball. So, and his actual running has been, like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, basically. So I don't like his chances there. So I guess if you want to really take a chance, you can go Bortles and Allen Hurns, or see. Every game this year, has had went over the point total. I don't know why, but if that trend continues, you're gonna want some shares of some guys that are gonna make you uncomfortable playing. One of them, is Jared Goff, with Sammy Watkins, or Cooper Kupp. Or even their tight end, Everett. Or Higbee, they're both in play, so they're kind of split in time. So, that's something to consider. Another angle here is where Fournette, gets him knocking at the door, and then he comes out for a breather, and Ivory, comes in and steals snipes the touchdowns. That could be a strategy that you could go with, especially on a smaller slate if you go that route, on an afternoon game slate or something like that. That could be a way to separate yourself from the pack. So just something to consider there. So next game is we're kind of moving through this pretty fast here. So I'm trying to be a little more efficient here. So I'll give you some of my a list of different positions that I like, my favorite at the end here. So next game is Tampa Bay against Arizona. It's 44.5 was the point total starting. It's moved up to 46. It's kind of a pick'em game. It's in Arizona. This could be a game. Adrian Peterson got traded over here. I think he might. I don't know if if it happened early enough where the slates are are allowing his points for Arizona here. I'll have to double check on that. But if they are, Peterson could be a sneaky play. As they try to take the workload off of Carson Palmer, because they've been throwing the ball so much. So, if I'm going to go with anybody in this game, it's going to be Andre Ellington or Fitzgerald, Mike Evans. He's always in play. Cameron Brate could be an interesting play. Winston is in play. Tampa defense is actually in play here because of if Palmer throws the ball all over the place. I mean that could he's been prone to a lot of interceptions, having those 4 or 5 interception type games. So I'd feel better about it if Tampa was at home, but this could be an interesting play. So you could look at Arizona defense also. So next game is Pittsburgh, Kansas City. Over under is 47, and Chiefs are favored by 4. Roethlisberger on the road has been garbage, so I think that continues. Kansas City's the real deal, I think. They're on fire. I've heard some people saying that they look at this game as a trap. I don't think so. I think Kansas City matches up with Pittsburgh pretty well. So, you could go with Alex Smith and Kareem Hunt. Pittsburgh just got gashed, last week on the ground, so to Fournette. So, these two franchises have had some high-scoring affairs over the last a few years. Then again, it could be a 10-9 type game. Also, it seems like there's no middle ground here with these two. So, I like Jesse James as a sneaky play with the tight end. Travis Kelce, he's in the concussion protocol, so I don't know if he's, might want to make sure on that. But if he's good to go, I like him a lot in this game. I like Tyreek Hill a lot, and of course Kareem Hunt. But I also like on this, the sniping aspect of things with West. I can't even see his first name, but C. West. So just he could come in and snipe a couple touchdowns just like he did last week. So in Pittsburgh, you got Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Martavis Bryant. The guy that could be sneaky here is going to be that Smith Schuster. He's kind of taking over the slot for Pittsburgh, and he's getting a handful of targets each week here. So that could be a nice pivot. So, that's something to consider. I'm going to take a break here, and we'll come back. We'll finish off the last 3 games, I guess, we got left. So, we're rolling through it pretty well. All right. We'll be back in a second. Thanks. Welcome back. This is the Fantasy Results Show. I'm your host, JBlaze39, brought to you by DailyDraftAnalysis.com. When you sign up, you get a free month membership to give it a shot and see what I have going on here. I do this podcast each week. I'm always available to answer any questions you guys have. And I'm always willing to help. So, anytime you guys have questions, let me know. And hit me up on Twitter. Hit me message. Email. So you can hit me at Twitter at JBlaze39. And then also, hey, I'm just trying to get this going. I'm just kind of the ground floor of of getting trying to educate folks. So that's what this is all about. So just straight talk from someone that's won and that's had some great success. So anyway, let's get on board. Come on board and we'll make it happen. So I do projections each week and my rankings and there's some I tell you what, people are having some success with the advice they're getting from this website, DailyDraftAnalysis.com, having their best scores that they've ever had, and that's what I love to hear. So, people are winning some money. Let's keep it going. So, all right, my next game is the LA Chargers against Oakland. It's the highest point total of the slate at 50.5. Oakland's favored by 3.5. Looks like Derek Carr is going to be back in this game. This rivalry has been some shootouts in the last number of years. Some major shootouts. So there's going to be a good amount of attention on this game, but from a tournament perspective, with everybody going to Deshaun Watson because of the salary, my favorite play of the week is Phillip Rivers. Now he has had over at least, I've seen a stat here, at least 2 or 3 touchdowns and darn near 300 yards a game the last 6 or 7 games against Oakland. So there's something there. Who he's going to throw it to? Well, who knows? Keenan Allen's kind of a target hog, so that's an obvious choice. You got the home run hitter, Travis Benjamin. You got another deep threat in Tyrell Williams. Melvin Gordon is in play as a pass catching back. He's very active. We all seen what Chris Thompson did to the Oakland defense a few weeks ago. Gordon's a better back than Thompson, so there could be a blow up game for him. On the Oakland side, I think Derek Carr's in play. They're gonna be in it's his first game back, so who knows? I mean, but Chargers defense, isn't that great either. So, can we trust Amari Cooper? Well, only for tournaments. I wouldn't trust him for cash. And Crabtree is an interesting tournament play. And actually, he's decent for cash also. The guy I like is Jalen Richard, running back. He kind of the one that spells Lynch, and he's got big play potential. And that could be a sneaky play. Derek the tight end for Oakland, Cook. He could be he's getting more and more targets also, so he could be in play. So of course, I'm not having any defense, any of these defenses, so I'm not playing Lynch. I liked the all out, offensive plays in this game. So load them up. Next game is the Sunday night game, which is it's gonna be ugly. It's the Giants going to Denver, facing the Broncos, and Giants are decimated with a wide receiver, and I just of course they're they're going against the no-fly zone, so the plays in this one. I mean, Denver's favored by 11.5. Over/under is 39. It's going to be a 19-10 type of game. So Denver's defense and C.J. Anderson, or Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles could snipe some plays from C.J. Anderson. Be careful with that. And then Emmanuel Sanders is in play. Trevor Siemian, is going to be in play. He could be a sneaky play, actually. So Giants side, I'm not. I don't know if I want to touch anybody in this one. Maybe Darkwa, or I don't like anybody in this. Maybe Ingram. That's about it. Evan Ingram. I mean, he nobody will be on him because of the 0 he put up last week. So that's Richard that Lewis or what from the Giants. He could be a sneaky play. It's otherwise I'm staying away from this game. So I guess from a pivot point, you with the defense is the way it is. I guess you could play with the Giants defense but Denver's been pretty good at home. So we'll see. And the last game we have is Indianapolis going to Tennessee. I don't know if Mariota's playing. Last I saw, it sounded like he was. And if he plays, I like. This is a type of game where it could turn into a shootout here. And this could be a fun game, actually. The guys I like in this one is T.Y. Hilton, Brissett, Marlon Mack, potentially, and then let's see here. Tennessee got, of course, you got Mariota and Walker as his top choice. Rashard Matthews is in play. That's actually really all I got for that. But there's always somebody that can step up. Tennessee could step up and it could blow up, and it's an over on. I mean, it's a pick 'em game, right? Vegas doesn't even have a line on this one yet, so you could. You're only going to play this game in the Sunday, Monday slate or the primetime slate. So, what a lot of people are going to end up doing is they're going to go with Denver defense and then load up on this game on the primetime. Well, a way to pivot on that is take one of these defenses and load up on the other game. And that could be a contrarian play. Because then you're banking on Tennessee dominating and or it being a sloppy game. You could go Murray at home. Eric Decker might be in play. It's hard to tell on this one. So that could be an angle to go is to do different combinations with this game. Not maybe just the obvious. Maybe go with Brissett and second receiver for Indy. Oh, drawing a blank right now. Moncrief is the guy. And then it's Travis Henry, or not Travis Henry. Wow. Derrick Henry could be a consideration here. So, Travis Henry's probably having more kids. He's already got 9. Anyway, let's see here. I told you I was going to get into some of the that's all the games we got. So, this week, some of my favorite at the quarterback position, my top choices are my top choice is Philip Rivers, and then Deshaun Watson, and then it's actually Case Keenum. Now this is tournaments, and Brian Hoyer, and Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers, and Kevin Hogan is in play. So just I'm just that's my top choices for tournaments. Cash. I mean, you're looking at Deshaun Watson. You're looking at Matt Ryan. You're looking at Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins. Actually, Kirk Cousins is for tournaments too. So, and actually, Alex Smith is in there for cash. Aaron Rodgers. So, that's what I got for quarterbacks. Running backs, my top choice. This is for tournament is Freeman. And McKinnon. And then Leonard Fournette. And Melvin Gordon. That's the guys I'm looking at for tournaments. Maybe Alvin Kamara and Elijah McGuire. Duke Johnson is in there. Riddick is in there. And Carlos Hyde and Chris Thompson. Those are my choices for running back for tournaments. Cash. I'm gonna go with McGuire, Freeman, McKinnon, Buck Allen. Fournette, Peterson. No, not Peterson. Peterson could be in for tournaments. He's not in play for cash. Gordon, and Bell and Hunt. And C.J. Anderson. C.J. Anderson is in play for tournaments also. So, and in wide receivers, my top choice is Julio Jones, and then just because of the pivot off of Hopkins. Hopkins is in play with tournaments and cash. Parker, Taylor Gabriel, Golden Tate, Adam Thielen, and then also Jordan Nelson. He's good for cash also. Michael Thomas. Pierre Garçon is in for cash and tournaments. Only with a stack. Only with Hoyer. Mike Evans is in cash and tournaments. Tyreek Hill's in tournaments. And Emmanuel Sanders is in cash and tournaments, I guess. And yeah, I'm forgetting somebody here. Hogan is good for cash. And Will Fuller could be in play for tournaments. And then Ricardo Lewis is in play for cash and tournaments for Cleveland. And let's see here. Sammy Watkins for tournaments. You got Antonio Brown, obviously. He's always in play for cash and tournaments. If you can afford them. So, Keenan Allen, cash. Benjamin and Williams are for tournaments. And Crabtree's for cash and tournaments. That's T.Y. Hilton maybe for cash and tournaments. So, defenses, I like Atlanta defense the most. I do like Baltimore defense, and a kind of a sneaky play Minnesota defense, just because they're at home. Kansas City defense, Denver defense. So Jacksonville defense for tournaments, and actually Jets defense for tournaments. So, that's all I got for the different positions. Now, a fun stat for people that play FanDuel that I heard this week is every kicker that has went into Jacksonville that has scored for the last 3 years has scored at least 5 points. That's something to consider when you're choosing your kicker for FanDuel. So just keep that in mind. It's a fun little fact there. So, if you want some security for cash, there you go. I don't play kicker because I play mostly DraftKings. So, but that's just me. So, but if you play it on FanDuel, well, there you go. Anyway, that's all I got for this week. It's I'm sorry it's so late. It's Saturday afternoon, and normally it comes out on Friday. This week has been crazy, so I'll try to get it out on Friday next week. So, but I hope everybody found this enjoyable and insightful. And let's go win some money. All right, thanks, guys.